the summary from the point of view of our exhibitors from Indonesia, and I give the word to you.
Thank you very much, and also Jochen, thank you very much for having Indonesia as a partner country. We are very happy at this Hannover Fair digital versions. We have 156 Indonesian companies contributing and actually participating. We have almost 700 different products and solutions that we showcase in Hannover Fair. We're also very happy that the opening was also attended by both head of government. We have our President Jokowi and also Chancellor Angela Merkel, and we have about 8 investment talks and discussions. We have business summits, and we have about 500 live streaming. So it's really a great opportunity for us to showcase Indonesia, that people will see Indonesia more than just a place for holiday. Bali is nice, of course, but Indonesia as a center of Industry 4.0, Indonesia as a center for excellence in terms of manufacturing, IoT, as well as the ability of Indonesian people in bringing about digital economy is now out in the open. Now the world knows that we have a lot of unicorns, and we have a decacorn even, and the world now knows that the digital economy of Indonesia is moving very fast, and we are domination's power in Southeast Asia on this matter. So we are very happy with these digital versions, and we are looking very much forward to the physical versions of 2023, where Indonesia will become again a partner country. And that I would also like to conclude that Indonesia is the longest partner of Hannover Fair, because we had been your partners in 1995, last year, this year, and 2023. It's breaking the record.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And looking at the perspective, if I may ask my first question just in between, looking at the perspective in Indonesia being partner country 2023, what does that mean for you as a country?
I think it's number one is it means for us as a trust, the industry trusts Indonesia, that Indonesia is a place for a choice of partnerships in industrial development, a choice for investment. And also, I think in regard to this pandemic, it's also important to work more on the health aspect of the industry itself, and Indonesia is ready for that.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. Wir schalten jetzt, meine ich, nach Mannheim. Ist der Herr Dr.
Let's go to Mannheim now. Has Dr. Kegel joined us already? Dr. Kegel, are you there?
Ich höre gerade. Ist noch nicht in der Leitung. Alles klar.
Mr. Kegel has not joined us yet, so let's continue right away with the point of view from Deutsche Messe AG. And then we'll conclude with the exhibitors. Dr. Köckler, you have the floor. This is a historic trade fair once again, but this year round especially so. What is your conclusion?
Well, in any case, there is really a guiding principle that we announced beforehand. Hannover Messe 2021 was purely digital. And the first thing that we can say is that the degree, the power of innovation from mechanical engineering, electronics and IT could really be mapped and reflected in a digital way. And together with our customers and the partner associations with a wonderful partner country, Indonesia, the Hannover Messe 2021 could be strengthened. This was our idea, and our claim was not an emergency solution, not in the motto of better than cancelling it, but we wanted to really address this in a digital fashion, and our conclusion here is very, very positive. The core elements were presented in a digital way. We achieved this because, of course, there was a ban on physical contact. The next message is that we succeeded in ensuring that the future can be hybrid. The future of the trade show is going to be hybrid because in its 8th decade of existence, the trade show has shown that when you want to enhance business, then you can also go for hybrid. And all in all, Dr. Oegroseno, of course, already wondered what would be happening here. We are happy to be able to announce that we had 90,000 registered participants, which means 90,000 participants for Hannover Messe 21 who were active then in the press release, which we'll publish later on. You will see how this was distributed on the different stages. But this was really important for us because 1,800 exhibitors trusted us. Our partner country trusted us, who said, yes, we are going to do this experiment with you. And we're very happy that this experiment was successful. And another thing, which is a great recognition of Deutsche Messe and the exhibitors, that the Federal Chancellor, Mrs. Merkel and Mr. Widodo, were willing to participate in the digital opening. We were able to thank Ms. Merkel for 15 years, and this is great for mechanical engineering and electrical engineering and IT, that both heads of state were able to do this. And Mr. Havas, I would like to combine this with a great thanks to Indonesia, and I think it's very, very good that Indonesia has said, you're the longest standing partner country ever. You started off in 2019, in 2020 rather, in 2021 we'll have a digital version, and in 2023 we'll have a face-to-face event with Indonesia as a partner country. Of course, you'll wonder, what does this mean for trade show and trade show activity in the future? Will there only be these formats? Well, we'll stick with what we said at the beginning. The future is going to be hybrid. There are, at the moment, we have the Women Power event running parallelly, and the message of a trade show can be reflected also digitally, but what's missing is the interpersonal factor. So everybody who has done some deal at some stage, every partner country knows that something is happening between human beings, and our learning curve is, the more complex a topic is, the more complex a situation is, it's all the more important to have this interpersonal factor. And that's also the core of the Hannover Messe. Millions of investments are triggered here, and that's totally different than if you only meet digitally, or if you only get your information digitally. All in all, and that's the positive message, we can say we're very grateful for the learning curve that we have had. In any case, in the Hannover Messe 2022, there will be digital elements in order to ensure that the brand, the platform Hannover Messe, can be enhanced. Those who cannot come to Hannover for cost reasons or whatever will be able and have the opportunity to see the innovation and the content digitally. And this is a learning curve. Yesterday we had the keynote of the CEO of Volkswagen, and Mr. Dies live reported something that he had never said before. He said, we need exclusivity, this is what makes a trade show, and we need a combination point. So we need this week in April for the exhibitors to know this is where we can show our innovations, and the consumers and customers who want to invest can go there and look where to invest. So basically we have an optimistic conclusion, although, and I want to stress this, even for us trade show organizers, it does feel strange if the premises of Hannover Messe are empty. It not only feels strange for us, but also for the whole federal state of Lower Saxony. But we don't have to justify it. We had to do it in this way because we couldn't do anything else. But next year, and hopefully for the next 75 years, we will be able to bring many, many people together. Just because the face-to-face meetings has something that digital meetings cannot do. And maybe even next year we will say at this stage, well, we had so and so many visitors in these halls and so on and so forth, and so many visitors on the network. Dr. Kegel, the Exhibitors Advisory Board of Hannover Messe, is here. Thank you so much for the exhibitors. Thank you to everybody for all the cooperation. We'll start our work again on Monday. We'll look at the digital leads, the 90,000 registered participants that were reported. So we'll compare what this has done in terms of benefit. And next year, in sum, Hannover Messe, as the world's most important leading trade fair, will be elevated to
Thank you, Dr. Köckler. Greetings to Mannheim, Dr. Kegel. We are looking forward to the summary from the point of view of the exhibitors.
Dr. Köckler, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to offer my conclusion. It's a steep learning curve that all of us have gone through over the past 12 months or so. I have a lively recollection of our first digital event without any preparation back then, because the pandemic struck us by surprise. At the time, we had to leave the trade fair grounds and go to the Musti studios to produce content, and this was completely different this time around. Now, Hall 18 was rearranged completely. It is turned into a hub, which is a perfect location for digital streaming, both live content and pre-recorded content. Real-time, live, simultaneous translation. So Hannover Trade Fair has certainly upped the game, increased its skills and competencies, technological competence, but also when it comes to the sheer range of possibilities to produce content, to produce digital content. That's perfect. And I would like to thank Deutsche Messe AG for having gone to such great lengths, invested so much despite the difficult times. Thank you very much for the setup that you've put together. I'd also like to thank the great number of exhibitors who are organized in the advisory board and who, even back in November, decided that it was a good idea to flip the button from an analog to a digital. We made sure that we would go down the road of a full digital solution, because we were quite sure that the pandemic would still be there, and this would stand in the way of a physical trade fair. So more than 1,100 exhibitors decided to prepare content digitally, and I know that many companies, including our company, to make sure that their program was advertised by way of teasers from Hanover. We are enthusiastic to see the range we created, the range and reach we created by way of our digital offerings, which is clearly beyond last year's reach. So great success. Feedback I've received so far from exhibitors is positive throughout. They're all surprised, to see how well everything worked out, how good they were in a position to get in touch with customers, with leads, etc. So it used to be something that was put together because of the sheer need of the pandemic, but now it's turned out as a concept we want to keep alive even once a face-to-face trade fair will be possible again, because the kind of reach that we have created will certainly benefit those who cannot make it to Hanover for whatsoever reason. We now know how to deal with these digital leads. The exhibitors, companies have gone through a very steep learning curve here once again. So we're looking forward to the next physical trade fair in 2022. Hopefully there will be a face-to-face trade fair. All of us very much looking forward to that, to meeting you again, having a cup of coffee, to make sure that the interhuman, the personal contacts are preserved. You can do without that for 1 year, but sooner or later it becomes quite clear that it's absolutely inevitable to get in touch personally with one another. We're very much looking forward to that. However, we believe that the digital content that we have developed now will also have an impact and support and add to the next trade fair, and it will certainly enhance the value of Hanover Trade Fair. So for us, this will remain the key presentation platform, especially with a view to digitization. It all started 10 years ago. Industry 4.0 was first created. This was when the final report was handed over, and ever since then we've managed to add new chapters to the story of Industry 4.0, and we've continued this one more time this year by showing that the digitization of industry also includes digital channels to present and produce things. So I am confident that next year the trade fair focus will once again be on digitization, and there will be yet another focus, which is the circular economy or sustainability. So a lot of things will be showcased next year around hydrogen, etc., more electrified solutions. I am certain that Hannover Trade Fair will once again be the window to the world, and we will make it as attractive as possible.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kegel. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Dr. Köckler. The first question we have comes from Konrad from Meding from Hannover newspaper. It goes to Mr. Köckler. How were the average access rates in the streams? Well, yesterday evening in our internal round, Mr. von Meding, we specifically thought about which numbers we will be presenting after having had such a new format. For us, the way we think, it is important that we have 90,000 registered participants, and that is close to what we have counted as visitors in the physical trade fairs. And we have 3.5 million page hits. That's something which you can count. We have 700,000 search queries. And in the conference and exhibitor stream, we had 140,000 participants. Now you could simply say, well, those in a number, as numbers were 1,200. But next week, we will have data analysts who will interpret. I don't know whether we'll have master theses written about this. I can imagine there were a couple of streams that were not that well viewed and others that had a couple of thousands. But all in all, we had 140,000 viewers for our different formats. And of course, we are happy about it. This week, we had the task to provide all the technology. We haven't analyzed everything yet, but this is a number we can announce today. And when you divide that up, then in each event, we would have more than 1,000. But I'm sure there were some with many thousands and some with maybe less than 100. Thank you very much. The next question comes from Jörg Isen from NDR and goes to Dr. Kegel. So if, say, in 2019, there were more than 6,000 exhibitors being in Hanover, but now only 1,800 companies in the digital fair. So what was the reason why more than 3,000 companies did not participate in the digital trade fair? Well, I believe that many companies haven't gone that far yet, that they have fully digitalized the content of their presentations. We see it from the number of digital company trade fairs. There are not 6,000, clearly less in our industry. So it is quite elaborate to prepare a content that you presented physically, where print media played a role, to fully digitalize everything. We do know this. If you believe that we save a lot of money by no longer have a physical trade fair, not paying for a booth, well, we have to prepare everything digital, and digital content, producing that is quite pricey. If you do it the right way, if you do it in an attractive way, what we want to provide is a true customer journey. We want people to have fun moving around our digital environment, looking at a virtual booth, looking at virtual products. Preparing that in technology terms is quite a costly and time-consuming effort, and many companies are not prepared to do that yet. So that they say, well, we participate in a digital Hanover fair because we have digital content that we can provide. That's not the case. I mean, Hanover has 10,000 different products that were made available in a digital format, but they all came from the exhibitors themselves, and those who didn't have it were not in a position to participate in it in a reasonable manner. That's the way it is. So that we have, the situation diverging a bit. You have fast companies, quick companies moving forward in digitalization. They had a bit of an easier situation. Maybe there are a number of products that are not well suited to be put into digital content only, and people shied away from showing that because they think it may be better to present a clear-cut drawing and to have personal content. That's why they wouldn't go the way of a digital trade fair. That's how we explain it. This has nothing to do with sizes. We have very small companies that are extremely good in digital content. We have large companies that have other strategies. So you can't just say the size matters. It has probably other reasons, but I believe digital content, you have to have it before you go to such a trade fair. Thank you very much. One question goes to Dr. Köckler. Relatively quick answer. I suppose Mr. Finsterbusch from FAZ newspaper asks, how good is the 5G campus network? Can you give us a short estimate about it? Well, we haven't started it yet. 4 weeks ago, we started it. It's being implemented now. We are very optimistic that in September this year, in the first 3 halls, the campus network will be up and running. So yes, it's great. We have a lot of confirmation, 5G, to have the opportunity to be a campus network, a public network. That's one of the issues for the future. Dr. Kegel said hydrogen and others are important topics. So the campus network, maybe ask the question after September.
A question for the ambassador. Industry 4.0. Were there any concrete cooperations that were agreed on during Hannover Messe?
Yes, we have a couple of them, and I think one that is quite very important is cooperation with one precision technology company in Central Java and a German company called Toolcraft. So we had signatories during the opening day, and we had this one important aspect, which is 4.0 cooperation between Indonesia and Germany. And we have developed what we call the Indi 4.0. The name is quite interesting. It means an Indonesian Industry 4.0 indicators. So there are 20 plus something indicators where the one company can already be considered as 4.0. And we are working with some German industry to strengthen these indicators so that we have in the years to come more company who graduate, if you will, to become 4.0. We've done some survey of 323 companies, 3 companies last year. And the result was 13 companies already full 4.0 in Indonesia already. Most of them, they are at the rank of going to become 4.0. So that would be 173 companies which we consider would become 4.0. So with this cooperation with Germany, then we can hopefully strengthen the indicators and push more industry to become 4.0.
Thank you.
All right.
In so einem digitalen Slot haben wir tatsächlich.
In such a digital slot, we also have a very clear time frame. Still, we have a couple of questions. I would like to address 2 with the wish to give us a short answer. One goes to Dr. Kegel. It's a good match to the answer of the ambassador. Which significance has the status of the partner country, for example, Indonesia at Hannover Messe?
Well, the basic answer would be it's a kind of a magnifying glass that you can really direct to a certain region. You're focusing on a certain region by focusing on a partner country. And this always leads to finding opportunities that you didn't perceive before. And in Indonesia, this is, of course, always though. We have had 800 workforce in Indonesia. It's one of our most successful production sites. It's well worthwhile visiting it. And it's always good, really good, to have a magnifying glass directed towards a region and the major markets, such as, you sometimes lose sight of other markets because you look at China and the United States. So it's nice to have this magnifying glass. Thank you very much. I was just told that the time is up. The answers that haven't been, the questions rather that haven't been answered yet will be answered later on. Thank you very much to the 3 speakers. Mr. Kegel, greetings to Mannheim. Mr. Ambassador, thanks for having been here. Mr. Köckler, thank you very much. So we will answer your questions. Thank you very much for having been interested.